Okay, so our agenda's on the board. So you guys should have your exam 4 back. I'm just checking the board really quick to make sure everybody grabbed theirs. The high was 94 and the low was 14, which is quite a large range for this test. I think that it's interesting that the person that got a 94 had the same instruction, the same resources that all of you guys had, is the same, the 14. Like, those two people, everything was the same. So what do you guys think was the difference? So I have that we'll talk about this on Wednesday, because I think that if you guys go through your exam, you'll see a lot of your mistakes. I'll talk about a couple briefly, and then we'll move on to our new unit. So before you get terribly discouraged or defensive about your score, I think that you need to genuinely reflect on how you got there. So, did you do all of the can you do's? Did you do them on time? Did you actually do them and then check your answers, or did you just write the solutions down? Or did you not even watch the videos and literally just pause to the point where all the solutions were showing and copy them down? I don't think there's a single person in here that can say, I did every single thing that I could to be ready for this test, and they scored less than a 50. And I can say that for sure because none of you ask me questions, ever. I'm always begging you to email me and ask me in class, and nobody ever asks anything. And it is extremely rare that none of you guys have questions about this material. So before you want to ask yourself, well, what was the average? What did everybody else get? That shouldn't even factor in. What you should be thinking about is what you did and could have done. So I would not be too concerned about your test score because, one, if you got a 3 or higher, you're right where you need to be. We've talked about this frequently in class. Like, if you're getting an A in this class, that means that you should be aligned to get a 5. So if you're getting a C is what will earn you a 3 on your AP exam, and that's all you need for your credit. So keep that in mind. And the other thing is you can do your test corrections, and you have an optional exam that you can take at the end of the quarter to adjust your grade if you'd like. So if you scored low, if you scored lower than you thought you would, I would just use it as a learning experience, as I always say. I know that's harder said than done, but I would learn from the mistakes and try to do better the next time. If you got a 1, I worry for you. Like, those of you that got a 20 and a 22 and a 14, I don't even know. So while I'm discussing that, I have a suspicion that many of the kids that got a 1 and a 2 are now going to go see their counselor and try to drop this class. Do you think that's going to work out for you guys? No, because just like I told you last week, don't even take the test. Go and see your counselor. Do you guys remember me saying that? Because I knew that eventually so many kids would drop that then the administration and the counselor is going to go, oh, wait a minute, too many kids are dropping. We can't just let everybody drop. And then they're going to stop from letting people drop, which is what happened on Friday. 2 girls came in to take their test. They got 20 and 25, and then immediately went to their counselor and tried to drop the class. Do you think the counselor let them drop? Nope. So by Friday, they had already said, okay, we've had enough. Everybody that needed to drop tried to drop by now. So just a heads up, for some of you it may work because you never know. You all have different counselors and you have to see the administrator and all that jazz. But the impression that I'm getting at this point is that they're not letting anybody else drop. They gave you that window of opportunity and it's over. So if you got a 1 on this exam, you got some work to do. So there are a few problems, like number 5. What is the variation in y that cannot be explained? So in our notes on the page where we talked about this, the percent that can be explained is r squared. So that is on page 417. And I want you to notice that toward the end of r squared, if you know that 90% of the variation can be explained, that means that 10% of the variation cannot be explained. And I even told you this would be on a test or a quiz, which is what you guys ended up seeing on your test. So most of you guys were on the right track here. But if you did r squared is how much can be explained. You needed to subtract that from 100 to find the other portion that could not be explained. Number 9 was from your review. Exactly from your review. So that concerned me a little bit. The other one that concerned me was free response 1A. This one concerns me because it takes no cognitive thinking. You simply needed to know the 4 numbers in the computer output and what they were. And I was shooketh at how many of you guys did not know how to read this computer input, did not know that this is Y and this is X. That error is unexcusable to me. So I'm just giving you an idea of some of the things I saw. And then the other thing that I wanted to address was 4. It says calculate S is a linear model appropriate and comment on the reliability of the prediction. I'm not sure if I just needed to do a better job of making connections for you guys. But this phrases to memorize, I think if you go back through your exam and you keep this phrases to memorize out and next to you, you will see that this is a really good snapshot of the things that you needed to know on your exam. Like lots of you guys struggled with the last question. I might be lying. The physics major. So this was one of your review questions. Lots of you guys struggled with interpreting the value of the correlation. Well, this is r squared. Correlation is r. So you needed to use r squared to find r. And then the interpretation is right here in this little box. The interpretation for S is right here. The interpretation for extrapolating and residual and the residual plot. So I would look through this before Wednesday to see if you can identify where you went wrong, and when you do it, I would keep this paper out to refer to. Most people got a 3 or higher. So our average is low, but that's because we had a handful of kids getting 14 out of 100. And even if all of you guys got a 3 or a higher, is that 14 still going to drag us down? Yeah. So we had a 14 and we had some 20s and we had some 30s. And even though that was a small portion of the students, that's enough to really bring your average down. So Yeah, I think that that's enough for now on exam 4. I'll go through next time in a little bit more detail how to do your quiz corrections. Just as a preview, you do them on this paper. You don't need a separate sheet of paper unless you really want one. You just erase your wrong answer and adjust it to the right answer on your free response. If you answered it, you can erase what you wrote, or you can do a new slip of paper. I personally think it's easier just to do it on the actual exam. So that is the feedback for that.